Come on, Helen.
She's doing really well. Now this is where she made the mistake before though. That is in control.
So this past May, I actually spent 4 days in Salt Lake City, Utah, shooting the IFSC Bouldering World Cup. I used a variety of different Sony equipment. I stayed at a hotel where the majority of the competitors and IFSC staff are staying, and I tried my best to cover the behind-the-scenes stories that people might not otherwise get to see. So if any of that sounds interesting, stick around. I think this video might be for you. Oh, and let me introduce myself. My name is Evan. I also go by Flash Focus. I'm a professional sports photographer specializing in climbing competitions, specifically bouldering competitions. So if you do enjoy this video, make sure to check out the rest of my channel because there's a lot of videos just like this one, including my video wrap up from last year's competition in Salt Lake. So in Salt Lake City, the World Cup was happening, qualifiers on the Friday, semis and finals for the women on the Saturday, and semis and finals for the men on Sunday. In order to keep my costs low for these types of trips, I usually fly in the day before the qualifiers. So this year was no different. I flew in on Thursday night. I went straight to the hotel and of course right away took advantage of the bouldering project attached, got a quick climbing session in. Then I went back up to my hotel room, sorted through my bag of gear, and made sure all my batteries were on charge for the next day. So the next day I woke up bright and early for the qualifier round for the men and the women. So if you haven't yet seen my photography from the actual event, make sure to check out my Instagram, and definitely make sure to scroll all the way back and check out the qualifier round photos, because looking back on this event, I have to say that my qualifier rounds were some of my best photos that I took all through the entire weekend, and that was largely due to access. So yeah, the qualifier rounds were, with the combination of the chalk in the air and the warmth, it was not very comfortable, but I pushed through the heat and I feel like I got some heat. Something new I'm going to start doing in these videos is whenever I'm doing a recap of an event and we talk about an individual round, like qualifiers, semis, or finals, I'm going to pull up one of my favorite photos and show it from each round. So my favorite photo from the women's qualifiers, I'd have to say, is this photo of Miho Tanaka hanging from the top of a super dynamic boulder. Her reaction is just pretty pure. Yeah, and my favorite photo for the men's qualifiers is probably this photo that I chose for the first one in the post of Julian Wimmer just screaming at the top. I was happy to have captured it. It was one of those photos that I honestly forgot I had captured because I was getting so many photos throughout that round of so many different athletes at once. So I was just really happy with the capture. It's not a perfect photo, but I'm happy with it. So qualifier round ended nice and late. I went back to the hotel and started editing right away. I turned the edits around, went to bed at an ungodly hour with the photos exporting so I could have them up in a drive for the athletes the next morning if they wanted to choose to post something saying they were making it into semifinals, which was happening for the women nice and early that morning. It was a super tight field between probably like the top 10 athletes, including Helen Gillette, who is just absolutely destroying the boulders. And even though she got appealed and had to come out and redo one of the hardest boulders out there, not only did she do it, I was able to get a really cool photo of her reaction when she did it. It's just unfortunate that she was kicked out of finals by only one attempt. So I would have to say that was my favorite photo from the women's semifinal round, but overall a really entertaining round with some really cool setting and a lot of really great climbing. Now on to the best round of the weekend by far. The women's finals round on Saturday night, in terms of storylines, was by far the most entertaining and probably one of the better stories in climbing I think I've ever seen. And of course I'm talking about Mao Nakamura winning her first gold medal. Sorry if that's a spoiler and you haven't seen it yet, but it has been 3 months now. Mao had previously come 4th place at the last 3 Boulder World Cups before this, and also she's just such a happy-go-lucky person and competitor. Even when she was coming 4th place, she was still super happy for the other athletes and congratulating them with a smile. So when she actually won, not only were her fellow teammates from Team Japan who were out on the mats with her really proud of her, but all the other competitors and finalists just came over and gave her an individual congratulations. Although a lot of the time that happens in these finals, you could tell that the congratulations were a lot more sincere because they all really respect Mao and really love her as a person. But her also being the only person to top the third climb, which had this like crimpy, powerful section in it, was just the icing on the cake. She just climbed incredibly well, and despite the fact that two of the women's boulders were extremely difficult, the fourth and the third one, she managed to figure it out on the third one, and she was the only one to do it, so it set her ahead of the competition. Not to mention, she deserved it. She flashed every boulder in semifinals, so she was really just having an amazing weekend. Congratulations to Mao. I was really happy of these photos I got of her celebrating, and it seemed to be those were the photos from the weekend that people really enjoyed the most. So the men who happened to make it into the semifinal round, they all are sort of notorious for being just loud or emotional people, whether they're succeeding or failing. And I happen to love that as a photographer. It's just more emotion in my photos, so it's all for the better. I'd once again say my favorite photo is probably the one I chose for the first photo in my recap of that round. This photo of Do-Yoon Lee at the top of, I think it was the M2 boulder. I just got kind of lucky that he happened to turn and face me, even though he was in a tension position that he was holding with a heel hook, so he was celebrating while still in the position. And it was a great photo and a great round, and it set my expectations super high for the men's finals later that evening. Now I have to say what stands out in the men's finals round to me was definitely the setting. I have to say just the way that they chose to set these boulders up, both for aesthetic and for crowd-pleasing value, it was just super entertaining, every single boulder, but their second boulder especially, which was super traversy and had these two coordination moves, had to be one of the most interesting boulders I think a lot of us had ever seen in a competition. The crowd for the men's finals was especially electric, really, really loud, and that was almost entirely due to Colin Duffy. Colin had made finals, and his home crowd was certainly getting behind him. And overall, the result of the men's finals was super interesting. It came down to the last boulder and down to who was able to actually do the last move. And only Do-Yoon and Serato were able to do it, which was pretty interesting because Do-Yoon was already a little bit behind. So when Serato did that last move, it was enough for him to secure the back-to-back gold medals in Salt Lake City. 2 years in a row going to Salt Lake City and seeing Serato just absolutely sweep the competition and take his gold. I'm hoping to see the same thing again next year so I can have a third photo for this series of Serato at the top of the fourth boulders in finals, aka his gold medal moment. If you want to see me doing more of these types of competitions, then definitely like this video and subscribe. Your support on this channel is kind of like my indicator that I'm on the right track. So if you really enjoy the climbing content that I've been producing, please, please, please support this channel. I know I'm not as consistent about posting as I probably could be, but I promise you when I do post, it will be great. So thank you for watching till the end of this video. If you did, comment what photo was your favorite from any of the rounds or any of the photos that I showed on screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye!